morning in Paris arrived softly, golden light spilling over rooftops, highlighting the intricate balconies and streets alive with movement. Emilia woke to the hum of the city, the clatter of cafe chairs, the distant ring of a bicycle bell, the faint strains of music drifting from a nearby street performer. Each sound felt like a pulse in the city's heart, reminding her that Paris was never quiet, never simple, and always demanding attention. Today felt different. The week had already tested her creativity, her courage, and her subtle navigation of office intrigue, and she sensed that Paris was preparing another wave of challenges. Her phone buzzed with a message from May. "Morning, superstar! Breakfast at Café de Flore. Big chaos and tiny surprises await. Don't be late!" Emilia smiled, a mix of anticipation and nervous excitement curling in her chest. May's energy was relentless, contagious, and slightly terrifying. The city had taught Emilia that every day was a test, and today promised lessons not just in work, but in charm, intuition, and heart. She dressed carefully, choosing an outfit that balanced professionalism with effortless Parisian chic. A soft blouse paired with tailored trousers, a delicate scarf, and polished flats. Every detail mattered here: how one moved, how one was perceived, and how one projected confidence without arrogance. Emilia knew Paris rewarded subtlety and attention to detail in equal measure. The streets welcomed her like an old friend and a tricky teacher at once. Cobblestones glimmered with morning dew. Bakeries released the warm aroma of fresh croissants, and cafés buzzed with patrons discussing life, love, and business in a melodic French cadence. Emilia walked briskly, savoring the sensory richness of the city while keeping her mind alert. Today, every glance and every choice might ripple into something unexpected. May was already at Café de Flore. Leaning forward eagerly over a cappuccino, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Ready?" she asked conspiratorially. "Camille has plans, Gabrielle is unpredictable, and you, my dear, will be right in the middle. Today could change everything." Emilia laughed softly, nerves fluttering. She had learned to expect surprises, but anticipation itself was intoxicating. Just then, Gabriel arrived, espresso in hand, his quiet charm filling the space. Their eyes met, and Emilia felt the familiar jolt, the thrill of connection, subtle and undeniable. "Morning," he said, handing her the cup. Their fingers brushed briefly, sending sparks through her, both grounding and thrilling her at once. Before more could be said, Camille appeared, moving with immaculate poise, a small notebook clutched in her hand. "I didn't want to disturb you," she said smoothly. Eyes flicking between Emilia and Gabrielle. "But I thought you might want to see this concept before the client briefing." Emilia felt the familiar twinge of rivalry and awareness, a reminder that charm and strategy were equally important in this city. Walking to Savoie together, Emilia felt Paris wrap her in every detail. La Seine glimmering beneath the morning sun, bicycles weaving gracefully between pedestrians, the glint of gold letters on boutique windows, and the hum of life blending into a soft symphony. The city was alive, challenging her, rewarding her, testing every decision she made. At the office, Sylvie's sharp gaze scanned the room. Luc and Julien whispered quietly, and Camille's poised observation added an extra layer of pressure. The client briefing was the first real test of the day, and Emilia felt her pulse quicken. She needed not only creativity, but diplomacy, charm, and keen intuition to navigate the delicate web of professional and emotional dynamics. As the session began, Emilia wove her ideas into the conversation, balancing Camille's polished contributions with Gabrielle's subtle insights. When the client requested a last-minute adjustment, she proposed a solution blending creativity, strategy, and style, earning approving nods from Sylvie, a worn smile from Gabrielle, and a faint, unreadable glance from Camille. Emilia felt exhilarated, aware that in Paris, every moment was a lesson, every interaction a test, and every spark of connection an opportunity. By mid-morning, she stepped onto the balcony, drinking in the Seine shimmering beneath the sunlight. Cafés buzzed below, accordion music floated from a nearby street corner, and Paris thrummed with life. May's words echoed, "Paris will test you, confuse you, and maybe even seduce you." Today, Emilia realized the city had done all three, and she was ready to meet it head-on. Heart and mind fully engaged in the intoxicating rhythm of Paris. The office was alive with activity, sunlight streaming through tall windows and bouncing off polished floors. Emilia settled at her desk, sketches and notes spread before her, but her mind was tangled in the subtle threads of the day. Gabriel's quiet, magnetic presence, Camille's poised and calculated observation, and the growing complexity of her own emotions. Paris had a way of amplifying every sensation, every glance, every fleeting touch, and Emilia felt it in every nerve. Luc and Julien whispered in corners, their curious eyes tracking Emilia's movements, while Sylvie's sharp gaze swept across the room like a hawk, assessing, judging, and occasionally approving. Across the space, Camille moved with effortless elegance, portfolio in hand, eyes flicking toward Emilia with a quiet, deliberate calculation. The tension was palpable, competition and charm intertwined in a delicate dance. Gabriel appeared beside her desk, carrying a cup of espresso. "You've been at this all morning," he murmured, handing it to her. Their fingers brushed lightly, a spark shooting through Emilia that made her heart race. She sipped the coffee, feeling warmth spread through her, both from the drink and the brief electric contact. The office, the city, the unspoken chemistry between them, it all collided into a thrilling, intoxicating tension she could neither ignore nor fully control. The client briefing began. Camille contributed sleek, polished ideas. Gabrielle's insights were understated but precise, and Emilia wove her bold concepts into the presentation, balancing strategy with style and creativity. When the client asked for a last-minute adjustment, Emilia's mind raced. She proposed a solution that combined everyone's input, blending practicality and flair, earning subtle nods from Sylvie, a warm smile from Gabrielle, and Camille's faint, unreadable expression, half admiration, half challenge. Emilia's pulse quickened. Paris demanded skill, intuition, and charm, and she felt herself rising to the occasion. By late morning, an impromptu photo shoot awaited at a boutique along Rue Saint-Honoré. Models, props, and lighting needed orchestration, and Emilia dove into the chaos with focus, balancing Camille's poised oversight and Gabrielle's quiet support. Every glance and brush of hands carried tension. Every suggestion or instruction held layered meanings. Emilia felt the thrill of performance, both professionally and personally. Gabrielle lingered nearby, offering subtle guidance, while Camille's measured observation reminded Emilia that rivalry was never far. Stepping onto the balcony for a brief pause, Emilia took a deep breath. The Seine glimmered beneath the soft afternoon light. Cafés hummed with life, and the distant Eiffel Tower sparkled faintly against the pale sky. May's words echoed. Paris will test you, confuse you, and maybe even seduce you. Today had done all three. The city had drawn her into its rhythm, challenged her, and left her heart racing with the possibilities of what might come next. Gabriel joined her, leaning casually against the railing. "You handled everything brilliantly," he said, voice low. "But Paris doesn't pause, and neither do its challenges or the opportunities." Their fingers brushed again, fleeting and electric, and Emilia felt a thrill that left her breathless. Camille lingered at the edge of the balcony, a poised reminder that subtle rivalries and social games were constants here. The late afternoon moved in a blur of interactions, emails, and small moments of connection. Emilia navigated the office politics, balancing charm, strategy, and emotional intuition, while simultaneously contending with her growing attraction to Gabriel. Camille's presence remained a subtle challenge, keeping her on her toes, but Emilia felt a quiet confidence rising within her. She realized that thriving in Paris required both courage and awareness, professional, emotional, and romantic all at once. By evening, as the office emptied and the city lights began to sparkle, Emilia returned to her desk, her mind racing with reflection. The day had tested her creativity, charm, and courage, and she had survived, even thrived. Paris pulsed around her, alive with possibilities, lessons, and intrigue. And Emilia knew that tomorrow would demand the same balance of skill, heart, and intuition. She leaned on the balcony railing, the Seine glimmering below, and felt a quiet thrill. Gabriel's glance from across the office, Camille's poised observation, and the city itself promised new challenges, new sparks, and the endless, intoxicating rhythm of Parisian life. The late afternoon sunlight poured through the office windows, turning the room into a golden haze. Emilia sat at her desk, surrounded by sketches, notebooks, and scattered client notes, but her mind was elsewhere. The events of the morning, Gabriel's subtle glances, Camille's poised challenges, and Sylvie's watchful supervision had left her simultaneously exhilarated and anxious. Paris had a way of amplifying every heartbeat, every glance, every fleeting touch. And Emilia felt it now in every nerve, every thought. Gabriel approached quietly, carrying 2 cups of espresso. "I thought you might need a little boost," he said, offering one to her. Their fingers brushed lightly, a brief contact that sent electricity straight to her chest. Emilia felt a rush of warmth, both from the coffee and from the subtle intimacy of the gesture. The office hummed around them, colleagues typing, phones buzzing, faint laughter from the far corner. But all Emilia could focus on was the way Gabriel's calm, confident presence seemed to anchor and electrify her at the same time. Before they could speak further, Camille entered, notebook in hand, moving with her usual precision. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said smoothly, eyes flicking between Emilia and Gabrielle. "But I wanted to show you my latest idea for tomorrow's presentation." Emilia felt the familiar pinch of rivalry. Camille's elegance and careful control were both a challenge and a lesson. In Paris, charm and skill were inseparable. And one misstep could unravel the delicate balance she was trying to maintain. The client call began, a high-stakes discussion that required every ounce of Emilia's focus. Camille's ideas were sleek and polished, Gabriel's contributions subtle but incisive, and Emilia's own suggestions bold, creative, and daring. When the client requested a sudden adjustment, Emilia's mind raced. She proposed a solution that harmonized the group's contributions, balancing aesthetics, strategy, and originality. Approval rippled through the room. Sylvie's sharp gaze softened with faint approval. Gabriel's eyes brightened with quiet admiration, and Camille's expression, carefully neutral, hinted at both intrigue and unspoken challenge. Emilia's pulse quickened. Paris demanded both skill and intuition, and she felt herself rising to meet it. By mid-afternoon, a pop-up photo shoot awaited at a nearby boutique, requiring Emilia to coordinate models, props, and lighting while balancing Camille's careful oversight and Gabriel's subtle guidance. Every gesture, every instruction, every accidental brush of hands intensified the charged tension. Emilia felt the thrill of navigating not only the creative challenge, but also the subtle, ever-present triangle of rivalry and attraction. Gabriel lingered close, offering quiet support, while Camille's poised observation reminded Emilia that competition and charm could never be ignored. Stepping onto the balcony for a brief pause, Emilia inhaled the intoxicating Parisian air. The Seine glimmered beneath the late afternoon sun. Cafés hummed with activity, and soft music floated from the streets. May's words echoed in her mind. Paris will test you, confuse you, and maybe even seduce you. Today had proven all three true. Every interaction had pushed her to be sharper, bolder, and more aware, not just professionally, but emotionally. Gabrielle joined her at the railing, leaning casually yet intentionally close. "You handled today beautifully," he murmured, voice low. "But remember, Paris doesn't slow down, and neither do the challenges or the opportunities." Their hands brushed once more, fleeting yet electrifying, and Emilia felt a thrill she could neither ignore nor fully comprehend. Camille, distant présent sur le balcony, avait une nouvelle air de tension. Emilia réalisait que toute couple d'une parole et toute décision importait, non pas pour le travail, mais pour la danse à tirage et la rivalité qui toimaient adrillée par. La ville semblait s'étendre son corps à les corps. Quelque bi, quelque réflexion, quelque belle chimie advertait sa conscience. As evening approached and the lights of Paris began to sparkle, Emilia returned to her desk, both exhausted and exhilarated. The day had tested her skill, charm, and heart. She had survived even thrived, navigating office politics, romantic tension, and the intricate rhythm of Parisian life. Leaning on the balcony, gazing at the Eiffel Tower twinkling in the distance, she felt a quiet thrill, a mixture of anticipation, exhilaration, and curiosity. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new sparks with Gabrielle, and undoubtedly more strategic interference from Camille. And Emilia, heart and mind fully engaged, was ready to embrace it all. Night had fully descended over Paris, the city glowing like a golden dream. Emilia returned to her apartment, the streets below alive with the hum of late-night cafés, distant laughter, and the soft echoes of an accordion drifting through the air. Every sound felt amplified, the city itself a living, breathing presence, constantly challenging and inspiring her. Today had been a whirlwind of creativity, subtle rivalries, and electric tension, leaving Emilia both exhausted and exhilarated. A knock at the door made her heart skip. Gabriel stood there, his calm presence immediately filling the space. He held 2 steaming cups of espresso, extending one to her with a faint smile. "I thought you might need this," he said softly. Their fingers brushed lightly, sending a spark straight through her chest. Emilia accepted the cup, savoring both the warmth of the drink and the quiet intimacy of the gesture. His presence always had a way of grounding her, while simultaneously making her pulse race. Before they could settle into conversation, Camille appeared in the doorway, notebook in hand, moving with her usual effortless precision. "I didn't want to intrude," she said smoothly, eyes flicking between Emilia and Gabrielle. "But I thought you might want to review this updated concept before tomorrow's meeting." Emilia felt the familiar sting of rivalry and tension, a sharp reminder that in Paris, charm and strategy were inseparable. Camille's poised interference, elegant and subtle, demanded awareness, intelligence, and careful navigation. They moved to the balcony together, the Seine glimmering beneath the city lights, street cafés buzzing softly, and the Eiffel Tower sparkling distantly like a sentinel over the city. Paris itself seemed to hold its breath, as if anticipating what would unfold. Emilia felt the delicate balance of emotions intensify. The pull toward Gabriel, the unspoken challenge from Camille, and her own desire to thrive, both professionally and personally. Every glance, every gesture, every word carried weight. Gabriel leaned closer, his voice a low murmur. "You've handled today brilliantly," he said. "But remember, Paris never stops testing you, and neither do the opportunities it gives you." Their hands brushed again, brief, electric, undeniable, and Emilia felt the thrill of anticipation and desire mingling with the adrenaline of achievement. The city, the office, the people around her all seemed to converge in this single charged moment. Camille remained at the edge of the balcony, her gaze sharp and measured. Emilia realized the subtle triangle of attraction and rivalry had intensified into something almost tangible. Navigating it would require more than charm. It would demand courage, intelligence, and a delicate understanding of human nature. Every decision, every glance, Every word could tip the balance in unpredictable ways. As the night deepened, Emilia stood at the railing, gazing at the Seine. The city lights shimmering like molten gold on the water. She reflected on the week, the tests of skill, heart, and charm she had already faced, and the lessons yet to come. Gabriel's subtle attentiveness, Camille's poised interference, and the city itself had all pushed her to grow, to trust her instincts, and to embrace both her vulnerabilities and strengths. A message from May flashed on her phone. Tomorrow will change everything. Be ready for surprises, sparks, and challenges you never saw coming. Emilia smiled, feeling a thrill of anticipation. Paris had already tested her in countless ways, yet she felt alive, confident, and ready. Whatever tomorrow brought, romance, rivalry, or unexpected twists, she would face it head-on, heart and mind fully engaged in the intoxicating rhythm of the city she was beginning to call home. With the Eiffel Tower glittering in the distance and the city alive beneath her, Emilia finally allowed herself a deep, steadying breath. Paris was unpredictable, challenging, and intoxicating, but she knew she was exactly where she needed to be, at the center of the city's rhythm, her heart open and ready for the next wave of adventure, passion, and intrigue.